Sharpness, one of England's most inland port towns and a rather quiet area of Great Britain's industrial heritage. In 1964, the last passenger train departed Sharpness. However, the line itself was not lost. More than 60 years on from the line being closed to public operation, the Vale of Berkeley Railway is set to operate its first passenger train.
And I'm here to ride it!
I'll take a step back into the railways of the past, take a look at the railways of the future, and get hands-on with a real locomotive.
That's some serious noise!
Yeah. So join me on the return to Sharpness.
Our journey starts here, at London Paddington Station, terminus of Brunel's Great Western Railway. From here we head west, to Didcot, to discover the past of railway travel and the glory of the Great Western Railway. Then we head further west to Oakhampton, to Britain's newest railway station, to discover the future of railway travel. And finally, we head east and return to Sharpness. The GWR were one of the big four of railway operators in the United Kingdom prior to nationalisation. They operated on Brunel's Great Western Main Line, which was originally constructed at a broad gauge, but thankfully today is at a standard gauge. The Great Western Railway is home to many accolades, one of them being City of Truro. Now, they claim that City of Truro was the first train to hit 100 miles per hour. Despite officially that record going to Flying Scotsman. But you ask anyone from the Western region, and they will die on the hill that it was City of Truro that hit 100 miles per hour first, and they do not shut up about it. Now, the Great Western Railway designed many locomotives, and many extremely famous ones, such as the Hall class and the Castle class. Those classes would then go on to inspire legendary locomotives such as the Black 5, designed by William Stanier, who studied under the Great Western Railway. They also designed locomotives such as the pannier tanks, which would end up finding themselves all around the United Kingdom. Where we're going to now is Didcot Railway Centre, home of the Great Western Society, which is dedicated to preserving the history of the Great Western Railway. There we will see locomotives from all across the Great Western Railway's golden age, and we'll even get to ride on one. And here we are on the 8 Road. This is quite interesting. It's a classic Great Western Railway coach, and they may look similar to Mark 1s, but as demonstrated by this door, they very much are not. Well, let's take a look as to why people call this the Golden Age. We'll take a look at this third class cabin right here. Now, third class is what would today be called standard class. You know, standard class with the rock hard seats, unergonomic design, very harsh laboratory lighting, very much feels like it was thought up in a lab with no human input whatsoever. cushion. Oh my god. Padding. Very nice tailored design here. It feels tailored to the human experience in such a quintessential way that modern standard class, even modern first class, isn't. Like, I would take this over some modern first class products. That's quite something to think about, isn't it? How modern trains are so sterile, if you think about it, when you compare it to this, which was tailored for human comfort. This is why they call it the golden age of travel. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm going to take a ride on Pendennis. And here's Pendennis Castle, our chariot for today. Well, one of our chariots for today. Probably the best chariot for the day, I'm going to be honest. And, oh, it's a beauty, isn't it? This is a Great Western Railway castle-class locomotive. A true stalwart of steam engineering. And, wow, is it something to behold. I love castle classes. I love anything Great Western. There's just something about them. They're so elegant. I love Great Western engines. And what a beauty this machine is. One of the most beautiful engines in the world, if you ask me. Anyway, to the engine shed. And I'm joined by Sam, who is a guard here at Didcot. So, tell me, what is volunteering here to you? Why do you volunteer here?
I actually volunteer here because I'm a guard for Great Western Railway out of Temple Meads. One of the really interesting things about this, I get to see what my job looked like 100 years ago. So essentially working on modern stock as a normal job, and then coming here and essentially working with the great-grandparents of the stock that I normally work with. So
why Didcot? You mentioned you're a guard out of Bristol. Surely it would have been easier to go to somewhere like Swindon for volunteering. Why Didcot?
Well, Didcot mainly because it's been a mainstay of mine since I was about 4 years old. I remember my dad taking me here when I was about 6, thereabouts. And it was just it was always a treat to come here, because one of the big appeals for Didcot for many children, even today, is the fact that you're not seeing the locomotives from the platform or from behind the fence. You're seeing them up close in an engine shed, which, is, in the nicest possible way, is a dirty, grimy, oily steam shed. It's not gentrified in any way. It's kind of exactly as it was when BR closed it.
So, what would you say is the importance of the railway preservation scene today? Like, why railways, why steam, and what's so important about preserving what we have?
It's a cultural thing, really, I think, largely. I'm reminded of a quote by, unfortunately, Margaret Thatcher, a rather disgruntled quote, when she was making a comment about railways, and she said that the public loved them too much. And so she was right, because you go to any other country in the world, Austria, Hungary, New Zealand, France, Belgium, America, and they have some railway museums and a couple of heritage railways, but their railways are largely functional. Whereas here, this is, one of the only countries in the world where railways are both functional and, a favourite pastime. And so it's worth preserving, I think, as a cultural thing, purely, especially because railways were essentially the ones that spearheaded us onto the world stage. And yeah, I think that industry and the hand that they played, especially the steam railways, the hand that they played in the Industrial Revolution and the prosperity that followed thereafter is certainly worth remembering.
And I think, especially compared to more modern traction, there's a certain character and a certain almost wonder and grandiose and the imposing element that a steam engine has, that really, when people see them, even general members of the public, when they see a mainline steam train go through, or people when they see a steam train for the first time, or say someone who grew up with steam trains coming to heritage railways, and you see that look on their face of either wonder or nostalgia or shock or whatever, and it's really sort of a reason to keep going with it.
Yeah, exactly. They're spellbound, aren't they? Absolutely spellbound. Yeah.
And yeah, so in that sense, there is this element of wonder to a steam engine, and nothing can really beat the character of a steam engine. But unfortunately, that's enough with the steam trains today. We're now going to head west to Exeter and Oakhampton, to Britain's newest railway station, to have a look at the railways of the future with Oakhampton Interchange.
You left the reverser in mid.
You know, there's something about a steam engine that I can't really put into words. It's got this element of elegance to it. It's imposing, it's grand, it's awesome, is the only way I can really put it. I love steam trains. They're arguably my favourite thing. And I love railway preservation in general. It's such an important movement in the railway scene and in the railway industry as a whole. And yet, often when looking at the broader scheme of things, it tends to be overlooked. But railway preservation is one of the most important things in the railway industry. It's keeping this amazing history of railways alive. You know, once something moves out of public service, volunteers come and give their time and preserve these machines that have carried us thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. It's done purely out of the love for preservation and preserving these amazing pieces of engineering. And you don't just have to hear it from me, because my view is subjective. So let's hear it from someone else. While we make our way to Exeter to go to the newest train station in the UK and thus look at the future of the railways, let's spend a bit more time in the past as Train Takes explains why preservation is so important. Take it away.
For me and several others, rail preservation isn't so much a hobby, but in many respects it's become more like a way of life. Whether you're a volunteer physically working on rolling stock, stations and everything in between, photographers travelling to galas to grab their snaps, or a regular member of the public looking for a unique day out, it's a special scene that brings joy to a lot of people. It inspires people and tells them important stories of the history of their communities and old ways of life. Whether it's learning about how an old steam engine works or how the signalman exchanges tokens to keep lines safe. For me, it forms some of my happiest memories, visiting different lines and getting up close to some magical machines which I'd read about in my youth. It preserves a way of life that transformed many places, including most of Great Britain, but also other countries around the world, like the United States, where heritage steam is still widely celebrated. It's also a sign of people standing up and fighting to keep things going, and if you believe in something strongly enough, then you might just save something. This in turn is how many heritage railways were reopened and how many steam and diesel locomotives were saved from scrap. One thing I always admire is how much volunteer labour drives everything on. For example, many heritage railways are run by people giving up their free time, unpaid, to undertake highly demanding and physical work to keep a railway going. So long may rail preservation continue to thrive, and long may we support it to keep it all going.
And I'm here at Oakhampton Interchange Station, and what do I think of it? Well, there's a good lot of positive and a good lot of negative. So let's go over the positive first. It's fully accessible. It's well signposted. It's got good digital information screens. And probably the biggest point is it's really cleverly designed, because this bit where the camera is standing right now is up on an elevated bit. The actual station is much further down. And instead of having just a station in a cutting with a footbridge that you then have to go over and then go up a massive slope afterwards, it's cool. It's a nice, elegant, sleek design, which is good. It's also in a very nice and picturesque location, which very much helps it. You've got some beautiful scenery all around, so that's good. What's not to love is the lack of future-proofing. Say they want to double-track this main, so let's say they want to double-track the line in the future, right? Okay, so what they could have done is remove the embankment now, and you have the space to add another platform and another track. They haven't done this. So if they want to double-track the line in the future, they have to close the station, put a lot of disruption in, remove the embankment, and then reopen it once they've put everything back in. It's just a whole lot of faff for really not that much output. Like, just get rid of the. Why no future-proof? Aren't we in an age where we learn that future-proofing is a good idea? The other issue, speaking of disruption, is station staff. And this is an issue with modern stations in the UK in general. What do I mean by this? Well, this is not a station. This is the same as many other stations in the UK that are new. Apart from a few like, say, Cambridge South or Beaulieu Park, they're not stations, they're unstaffed halts. And I think it's just sad that a modern station, so many modern stations, are just destined to be unstaffed halts. We need more staff at stations. This is a failing of the people up high. They want to cut costs and get rid of station staff, and this has been an ongoing campaign of theirs for God knows how long, and it needs to stop, because station staff are so dearly needed, and they make such an improvement to everyone's lives, and I think we need to stop taking station staff for granted. Anyway, enough negative, because I have a hotel in Exeter because I am tired, because I've been up since ridiculous o'clock this morning. Poor cameraman too. And we've got Return to Sharpness tomorrow, and there's no way we were going from London to that. So we're staying in Exeter, and we're going to go and check in early, get some night's sleep, and then tomorrow we return to Sharpness. And we've now arrived into Bristol Temple Meads, one of the great stations on Brunel's Great Western Main Line. Now it's time for us to catch a train towards Gloucester, and at last, return to Sharpness. And I'm joined here by Bora, who you might recognise as the specialist in aerodynamics from the HST documentary, but he also just so happens to be a local historian on the area of Gloucester and Sharpness. So tell us about Sharpness. It has a rather small population, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Last time I checked, it only has around about 100 people, maybe a bit more than that. It's mainly known for its docks.
And speaking of the docks, it has 2 docks, doesn't it? It has 2.
Yes. So the first dock, the old dock, was built alongside the Gloucester and Sharpness Canal in 1827. However, the entrance to the dock was quite small, and larger ships couldn't fit in. So in 1874, a new larger dock was built to the south of it. By 1908, it superseded the old dock, and so the old entrance to the dock was abandoned. And by the 1990s, the entrance to the old dock was actually sealed permanently. So it is, by all means, out of action.
And, well, what have the railways got to do with Sharpness? Because there were 2, weren't there, as well? We've got a theme of 2 going on here.
Yes, just like how there were 2 docks in Sharpness, there were 2 competing railway companies, both trying to connect the port to other places. Now, the Midland Railway did connect Gloucester to essentially the port at Sharpness with a low-lying bridge, a low-level bridge to the southeast connecting to Berkeley. However, the Great Western Railway connected their railway to places in Wales, across the Severn, with their higher level bridge, and the railway exits the port to the south.
And the railway that we're going on today is the old Midland Railway one, isn't
Yes.
it? As it goes through the Vale of Berkeley, isn't it? Which is what the Midland Railway went through. And yeah, that's rather interesting. So what's your overall assessment of Sharpness?
Well, to put it bluntly, it is a bit dull. However, with the arrival of this railway, of the reopening of passenger service to Sharpness, I imagine it can give it quite the edge in the coming decades, quite a sharp edge.
And you heard it there first. Quite a sharp edge. Now, please get off my channel and never make a joke like that again. Thank you. Right, we're at Cammon Dursley. Now, we now have to get a shuttle bus to Sharpness that leaves in about 3 minutes, and it's on the other side of the platform, so we need to run. And we've arrived at Sharpness. Now, the Vale of Berkeley Railway is a line I've been meaning to do for quite a while, so I'm very pleased I get the chance to do this now. And on such a significant day, such a momentous moment in history for this line. Today, the first passenger train in over 60 years departs Sharpness. we've arrived quite early, so we're going to take a look around the railway, speak to some people, do all that there is to do here, and then it will be time to return to Sharpness. That is quite awesome. And I'm here with Martin, who is a volunteer here at the Vale of Berkeley Railway. And tell me, what have you done to make this happen? How is this related to you?
Well, recently I spent a lot of time doing track work. That's replacing sleepers and making sure the points work. But mostly I've been rebuilding wagons. So if you want to look behind you, that browny red coloured wagon there, that's something I've rebuilt. Me and some other volunteers have rebuilt virtually from scratch.
It's beautiful.
So that is a thing called a brake van. It's used to add weight to goods trains and help them stop.
So what does this occasion, what does this moment mean to you?
It's happened very quickly, and it's the start of us being a proper railway. We're moving passengers for revenue, and yeah, it's great. And it's the start of us using the Network Rail mainline system.
And I'm here with Matt, who is a journalist for StroudTimes.com and is local to the area. And, well, can you tell me what this day means to you?
Well, it's great to see the culmination of all these years, 10 years of hard work by the volunteers at the Vale of Berkeley Railway. It's all coming together, and this is the first passenger service in 62 years, so it's really fantastic to see that.
Yeah, and you've sort of seen this progress over the last 10 years the Vale of Berkeley Railway has existed. How does it feel to see it at this stage now, when obviously it started, it was in its infancy, they probably barely had anything, to now having a full train going up the full 4-mile line?
Yeah, I mean, friends of mine are volunteers here, and I've seen pictures when it was completely overgrown and the work involved in getting it into this kind of state so that trains can run once again.
Right, so before we get on the pacer, as things are not exactly ready yet, this little guy is. Now, this is a Planet Shunter loco, and I've been given the unique opportunity to go and drive it. So that's exactly what I'm going to go and do. That's some serious noise!
Yeah. I don't think you've got your noise cancelling components to do that. So that's the air pressure, that's the brakes, that's the oil pressure, that's the working.
Whoa!
Hold on. We got it. That's the automatic.
Lovely. So this is the stop below car.
Stop stopping. Keep it up. Wonderful.
Okay.
Such power.
Well, thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Welcome, and thank goodness for a sunny day. It's gorgeous. As His Majesty the King's representative in Gloucestershire, I am delighted to welcome you all on this historic occasion, celebrating the 150th anniversary of the first passenger service on the Sharpness branch line. Hey! The arteries of the nation at the time, railways carried the lifeblood of a nation, such that the closure of the branch line 62 years ago cut off a vital link between Sharpness and the many local communities of Lydney, Bristol, Gloucester and Berkeley. The Vale of Berkeley Heritage Railway, established to preserve the history and heritage of rail services along with that of the communities which it helped to enrich. Sharpness New Dock, the Gloucester to Sharpness Canal, and even the ill-fated Severn Rail crossing to Lydney were all integral parts of the industrial era of the United Kingdom and the manufacturing revolution of the 19th and 20th centuries. Cargoes flowed through Sharpness from all over the world and onwards to the four corners of the kingdom. This is also, perhaps, an historic first, since women did not hold or hold official or operational railway roles on the Midland Line, except during the World Wars, as the Midland Railways, probably quite rightly at the time, had a strict male breadwinner model. In celebration of this glorious railway history, I would like to officially launch this weekend of celebrations and flag off the first train of the day. Safe travels and good luck to all of our fellow travellers on this momentous occasion.
And we're on board, and it's safe to say there's quite an air of excitement today. Obviously it is a historic occasion. It was an honour to see the opening speech, and it's an honour to be on the first train. So I'm going to sit down, we're going to relax, and we're going to enjoy a somewhat bumpy ride down to Berkeley. This is about the incredible people who've managed to bring this to light. And it seems like we're off. So the pacer has now reversed and we're heading back on the titular return to Sharpness. And I'm here with Susie Hewson, who is the Deputy Lieutenant for South Gloucestershire.
Or Gloucestershire. The whole of Gloucestershire.
All of Gloucestershire. Lovely.
But I'm actually based in South Gloucestershire.
So, what does this event and railway mean to the community here?
Well, I'm old enough to remember, even as a child, when the branch lines across the country were closed down. I didn't really understand what it meant at the time, But as I got older, like as a student, and you needed to get around the country, you knew how important the absence of these branch lines was. That you've got to. It's so hard to travel around if you don't have a car. So there are various branch lines that have been opened that basically give connection to community. These branch lines are important because we just think of it as a transport, but it is actually connecting communities that share all sorts of business communities, work, jobs, crafts, culture. And so the opening of a branch line joins those communities together again, rather than being others and us. So I think it's really important.
And of course, if, say, Berkeley Road Station is reopened, and if Sharpness Station is reopened, that would allow these communities to have this vital connection that otherwise they're missing.
Absolutely. And then when we're talking about, reducing our carbon footprint and, moving towards net zero or whatever, that returning to rail transport is the easiest and quickest way to bridge that gap. But it also puts people first, because community is important. When we see breakdown, talk about the breakdown in community cohesion. It's often about being separated. So it really would help to improve certain kinds of developments, new businesses, new culture activities, that people can come backwards and forwards to them without thinking, oh, I'd like to go, or I didn't know that happened. There's no way of getting there. So it is important, and cultural development is critical, especially in an area like this that is steeped in historical culture.
And finally, I'm here with Howard, who is the chair of the charity behind the Vale of Berkeley Railway. And honestly, it's a pleasure to have you on. And well, what does this project mean to you?
Well, I was first attracted to it because it was the idea of starting up a new heritage community railway. So the idea of starting one from scratch, as opposed to these ones that are already existing, some of which have been around for about 50 years now. So the idea of starting a new one somewhere new was just a really good idea, I thought. It started with very small beginnings. There's an old picture of about half a dozen of us standing in a shed on the other side of the dock, and that's where it grew from.
It's a massive undertaking, and I must say you have done an amazing job, especially with the arguably limited publicity you've had as compared to something like the Bluebell Railway.
Yeah.
So what does this moment in particular mean to you, having the train actually operate this 4-mile branch line in revenue service?
Well, it's a massive step forward, really, and I think we didn't expect it to be this quick, really, because we've been beavering away on this site doing various things, like renovating rolling stock and things like that for quite a while. But we always had the aim that we would restore passenger trains to the railway line up here. And this is the moment it happens, really, and we've just been very, very lucky to have been in contact with an enormous number of really, really helpful people, particularly on Network Rail, and for the train operating company who are driving the trains, Rail Adventure. They've just been absolutely incredibly helpful. So it's actually a totally quantum step forward for us.
And what's really the look at the future? Because obviously there's the question that a lot of people are going to be asking are there plans to install a station at the other end to have end-to-end travel at some point?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the question is, where do you do it? This is not really anything like the final plan. There used to be a station at Sharpness, a few hundred yards up that way. That would be a nice thing to do. And the main one, of course, is Berkeley, which has been deprived of a train service since 1964. So if we could rebuild, firstly, a platform, then maybe the rather lovely station building at Berkeley, that would restore Berkeley to its station, which I think would be really great for the town.
Yes, I mean, they would have
and then
a rail
this would enable people to go up to Gloucester and things like that, which they've been deprived of really for quite a long time now.
I mean, yes, because obviously you are connected to the main line, so even if you run heritage trains like between Berkeley and Sharpness, there's nothing to say that, say, a mainline train couldn't stop at Berkeley and take people up to Gloucester, for example.
Well, that's right, and we could have charter trains coming in to do it. So we could a lot of heritage railways have visitors that come in visiting trains, some steam, some diesel. So I think we're getting to the point where we're in some sort of position to be able to do that fairly soon, I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, as you said, it's a quantum leap forward. It's a massive step. Getting to actually run a train on this line after what, 62 years?
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's an amazing step forward, and it really brings an air of hope to the line, and it really shows promise as to what's coming in the future. You know, obviously there's hope you'll do more of these events, raise money for the railway, and eventually be able to reconnect Berkeley to the railway.
It's very much about a community project as well. So it's about reconnecting communities by rail. And the roads are getting more and more clogged up. There's more and more congestion. There's more and more accidents. The M5 is closed so much of the time these days. It's about, you know, spreading the message that we'd be far better off travelling by trains and public transport. And I think, you know, in the fullness of time, we'd like to have a public service for the public, alongside a heritage tourist offering as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ideal scenario for any heritage railway, really, is to be able to provide a service for the public as well as provide a tourist service. And both of them have the appeal. And, you know, you look at examples right now with the Severn Valley Railway, which is starting a new scheme where they're having national rail tickets go towards Bewdley.
Yeah,
and
I saw
they're
that.
going to have connecting trains. Like, that's amazing. This is what heritage rail should be, and this is another sign of this is a very feasible thing. A group of volunteers coming together and reconnecting a town that lost its railway connection back in the 60s. It's really quite inspiring.
Yeah, and on the first train we had quite a lot of people. There were people from Network Rail, there were local councillors, all manner of local people, all of whom think it's a really great thing. So I'm hoping it will kickstart the idea of rebuilding the railway line and putting back platforms and stations and things for the local community. Hopefully this will move it on a lot faster than it would have done otherwise.
Planet agrees.
The planet agrees.
Anyway, it's been lovely having you on. Thank you.
It's been great. Yeah, nice to meet you, and good luck with the video.
Nice to meet you too. And with that being said, we've travelled through the past of railway history. We've seen the Didcot Railway Centre. We've gone to the future of railway history with the brand new Oakhampton interchange station. And now we've finally returned to Sharpness. And with all that, I bid you adieu.